Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. My name is Gene Joke and today I'm ranking all the hidden games on the Evercade. By hidden games I mean the ones that are on the Evercade firmware that you unlock through codes or button combinations. This doesn't include any of the cart combo unlocks or exclusives hidden on certain carts with button combos. As I go through each game I will explain how to unlock it, and not every game is available on every system. Now the original handheld and the Super Pocket don't have these at all, as a game or two missing from the EXP and the Alpha, but the Evercade VS does have all of these, and that's where I've been playing them when I've recorded this footage. Naturally I'm ranking by personal preference, your opinions may vary, but I'll try and go into a little bit in depth of games where required or where possible and explain my reasoning. But ultimately a lot of these games on here, they're little extras. They're not necessarily great games, or they're a fun distraction, but don't expect too much from them. But a couple of them do defy that. Starting with my least favourite, and that is Kubo 1 and 2. So it's two games for the price of one. To unlock these, go to the secret menu and type in Seijay Was Here, which is Seijawashere. Remember how to spell it in a minute, and press enter, and that will unlock these. Again, they're fine little games. Kubo 3 was on Indie Heroes Collection 1, and it was fine. These are okay, but they're very short and basic, and they're not up to much graphically. There's some nice enough music, but you'll play through them once, and that's about all they have to offer. It's more of a prototype or a first attempt at making a game, and it's nice to have them here, but they don't really have a lot to offer, as I mentioned. Next up is Juggling Balls. This is for the Game Boy Color, and it's a very basic game. Essentially you have KD juggling balls, and you have to move KD's hands to catch them, catch as many balls as you can, and that's your score. There's really not much to it. It was made for the Game Boy Color in GB Studio, I believe. Again, I don't have much to say. It's perfectly fine for what it is. And, when you're sitting in a waiting room or something, it's fair enough one to pass a bit of time on. But it's not going to take up a huge amount of time. And, like I said, there's really not much to it. To unlock this game, again, go to the secret menu and type in the word Juggle, Juggle, press enter, and it'll unlock. Simple as that. And next up is NNN. To unlock this, hold down L1, R1 and press up, or do them all at the same time on the main screen, and it should unlock. It's a single screen bouncy avoidy thingy. You control KD as she bounces up and down the screen, and you avoid the things coming across. And essentially your score is by how long you can last before you get hit on. And it won't be long. I mean, in this gameplay here, I don't think I lasted more than about 5 seconds. Well, I don't think I even hit 5 seconds. I think my record is 7 seconds. So yes, I'm admitting that I could only last 7 seconds. In the game, that is. Again, it's a very basic game, very simple concept. You can have some fun with it. It's got some really good music, but again, it just doesn't have that much to it, so it's quite low on the list. And next up, we have Spacey McRacy. To unlock this one, on the main screen, hold down L1, R1 and down, and it'll unlock. This is a multiplayer, and best in multiplayer, I suppose, racing game. Essentially, you always have 4 opponents on screen, well, 3 opponents and yourself, and you're racing up the screen. The first to 100 points wins. Essentially, you get to the front, the top of the screen, stay in front. The longer you stay there and you build up points, there are other ways of getting points as well, but essentially you get the points. If you get the most, you win. Probably most fun in multiplayer. Single player, it can be pretty good for a little while, but again, it doesn't have a huge amount to offer. So again, really this is a multiplayer game and where it stands out, so you might have fun playing it multiplayer, but again, it's fairly simple, which is why it's where it is in this ranking. Next up, we have Gribbly's Day Out. This is a very strange Commodore 64 game. To unlock this, type in Gribbly Grobbly on the secret menu, and it'll unlock Gribbly Grobbly being GRIBBLY GROBBLY. The game itself, you control some sort of psychic frog-looking thing that's trying to rescue its children, the Griblets, and you'll bounce or fly your way through, taking out enemies, and it's quite a tough game actually. The controls are very precise and finicky. When you're on the ground, you'll bounce. If you push in a direction hard and continuously, you'll do a bigger bounce or hop, and while you're on the ground, you can't be hurt. But when you're flying, everything hurts you, but you'll need to fly to get to where you're going. And there's some sort of strange energy fields, and you'll bounce off things, and flying takes a fair bit of mastering. You can see from my footage how badly I was doing. I haven't played this in a while. It's quite a complex game. You've got to pick up the Gribblies, take them back to your cave to place them there so that they can rest safely. There are also enemies which basically, well, they start off as a seed, they'll grow into these things and they get bigger, so the longer you take on the game, the more dangerous the enemies get. But again, when you're on the ground, they can't hurt you, but when you're flying, they can. But you can shoot them with your spit bubble thing. Again, there's energy fields, and if you shoot certain parts of the background, you'll see the crosses. You shoot those and that can change the layout of the energy field, and you can end up bouncing and dying. It's a very tricky game to control, but it is satisfying when you master it. This is a game that I haven't quite mastered fully. I've gotten better at it now. I can find something to enjoy. I find it interesting. There's definitely more meat to it than most other games. It's a very ambitious game for the Commodore 64, but it's one that will frustrate people a lot as well, which is why it ended up middle of the pile, really. I know this is a game that has a lot of fans from C64 fans, and I think if you put the time in, you'll really enjoy it. But again, it'll be quite a Marmite game, and most people will probably just bounce off it not knowing what they've got to do. Next up is Go-Tris. This is a Sega Master System puzzle game, a mixture of the game Go and Tetris. You can tell by the name. To unlock this, press L2, R2 and select. I think on the alpha it's L1 and L2 and select. I think it's this game anyway. I don't have an alpha, so anyway, yeah, it's a combination of Go and Tetris, and it essentially plays out almost like a two-player game. You take alternate turns with the computer opponent, unless you're playing multiplayer, and yeah, it's a fine little game. Again, this is one that will be a bit Marmite. Some people will be into it, some won't. But if you like your puzzle games, you could have some fun with this one. Again, really not much to say. I quite like the game, although my gameplay here was really bad because I've not played it for a while. But yeah, it's a fine little game. So next we have The Lost Mines. This is a game that runs natively. It was originally an MSX game, I believe. Essentially you control a robot and you've got to navigate these mines, collecting the crystals or energy things before the computer opponent does, and get to the exit. And also the computer thing will kill you and use your life. It's sort of a puzzle maze game, if you like. It's not as straightforward as I've just said there. There are various hazards and things you've got to contend with. When you get these sort of power cell things, essentially the lights can go out. There are blocks which you have to essentially mine through, and you won't know what they are until you push against them. Essentially, I say it's a puzzle, collect them up. And yeah, your mileage may vary on this one, but again, it's quite a long game. There's a fair number of levels, and they do get rather challenging as you get further in. It also has some very nice presentation. So yeah, overall, it's a pretty decent game. Definitely one of the more meaty of these, free hidden games. So yeah, it's pretty good. To unlock this one, you type in the word BLOP on the secret menu. So that's BLOP. Simple as that, and it'll unlock. Next up, we have Fairy Fire, Defender of the Fairies. To unlock this, on the main screen, simply press the menu button 10 times. Straightforward as that, and it's basically Defender, but you control a floating wizard and you're rescuing fairies, rather than rescuing humans from aliens. There are upgrades between levels. You get to go to a shop, depending on how many things you've collected. You can pick up more of the fairies before you take them to the exit. You can get weapon power-ups and things. And at first, I really didn't like this, and I had to find it a bit slow, and the fact you're using like the fire button to, especially as your flight, if you like, controls a bit more like I wouldn't say Flappy Bird's not the best thing, but yeah, Flappy Bird and Defender almost. The firing is automatic, and again, it's a pretty good Defender like, and the upgrades adds a bit more variety to it. There's also an arcade mode as well as your basic levels. Yeah, I wouldn't say a meaty game, but there's a fair bit to it. And again, it's quite an easy pick up and play game. Also, this one runs natively, so yeah, it's decent. And there's some nice enough music, and the visuals, although not amazing, they're decent enough. So yeah, Fairy Fire. Genuinely quite a fun little game and a good addition to the Evercade. And next up we have Hummings, and to unlock this you press L2, L2, R2, R2, L1, L1, R1, R1. This is essentially Centipede, again like Fairy Fire, you fire automatically. You've got some quite nice graphics, no music unfortunately, and the sound effects are well enough done I suppose. It hasn't got the high speed of Centipede, but overall the gameplay is very similar. You also have some bosses, and again I actually find myself playing this one quite a bit just for a quick bash every so often. Unfortunately this one is solely on the VS at the moment. Maybe I'll make it to the EXP and the Alpha at some point. This is a decent clone of Centipede, modern graphics, or more modern-ish graphics, and bosses and bonus stages. And yeah, I'll say I have fun with this one. Genuinely a good game. But it's not the best of the hidden games, because that is next, and that is Rogue 64. Now, to unlock Rogue 64, go to the secret menu and type in the word stone. I don't think I need to spell that out for you. Essentially, this is a Commodore 64 game based upon the classic Rogue, which inspired the whole roguelike genre. And you make your way through dungeons, collect potions and keys, and you get to the next level and obviously you fight enemies. You start off with randomised health and strength. Nature of the potions that you pick up is also randomised. As you make your way through the dungeons, you'll pick up potions, and they are colour-coded as red, blue and yellow. And again, the effect of these is randomised, and when you use them, you work out what the effects you have on that playthrough. And again, it can alter how well it is. There are 8 levels of dungeons overall, and then you'll have a final boss. Combat is very straightforward. You move into the enemy and it will automatically work out the dice rolls behind the scenes. So you have some really good music. It's got a good atmosphere to it. Visually it's not up to much, but it does the job. But overall, the only criticism I have with this game overall is that there's only 8 dungeons, and although being a roguelike, it is very replayable, and unfortunately with only 8 levels, I wish there was more. I suppose it's better for the game to leave you wanting more. So that's my ranking of the hidden games on the Evercade. Like I said, I can imagine people have different opinions on which way they rank higher, but again, this is just my ranking and a sort of a brief review of them. As I mentioned, most of them are fairly simple, straightforward games. I mean, they are bonus extras. You don't really expect anything too amazing. But again, with some of these games, you have gotten something very good. I mean, you could argue that Gribbly's Day Out is better than a number of games on the C64 collections, and why Rogue 64 wasn't on Home Computer Heroes, I don't know. It's a very good game and better than a few games on that collection. But again, I'm not going to complain at getting free bonus games. And one of the reasons I'm doing this now is because I have heard it mentioned that on the next Evercade update there may be a new secret or hidden game. But again, I don't know if that's just a rumour or if there's any truth to it, but it would be about time to get another one. So hopefully that does prove to be true, and who knows, it might even be on the next date update, which I believe will be coming in the next week or so. Say that as the Indie Heroes Collection 4 is being released within the next week, and I believe they will be doing an update which will remove Murtop from being Game of the Month. So, we will see. But anyway, as usual, I'll leave you out with a song. I'll see you in the next cart ranking video, which will come very soon.
Gribbling and grobbling, gribbling and grobbling, gribbling and grobbling, gribbling and grobbling, jumping and flying through the skies. Gribbly's on the run, no time for goodbyes. Bouncing high, dodging through the maze, rescuing baby Gribbles all my days. Crustaceans, better watch out, it's Gribbly's Day Out. Saving those griblets, avoid that black crab, it'll turn you into giblets. Monsters lurking, they're out to pounce. Gribbly's gotta leap an ounce by ounce. Floating islands, the challenge is clear. A bubble blowing savior conquering fear. Crustaceans, better watch out, it's Gribbly's Day Out. Saving those griblets, avoid that black crab, it'll turn you into giblets. Gribbly grobbly, gribbly grobbly, gribbling and grobbling, gribbling and grobbling, gribbling and grobbling, gribbling and grobbling. Crustaceans, better watch out, it's Gribbly's Day Out. Saving those gribbles, avoid that black crab, it'll turn you into giblets.